It's 12 o'clock. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Starr Midday News. And coming up in the bulletin, NPP running mate Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh faces new wave of backlash following his decision to defend comments he made denigrating the achievements of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
You want them to give you the good word. You go and say what you said was your opinion when you stand where you stand. That means you are unrepentant. That's equal to arrogance.
There is no need comparing Nkrumah to other presidents, especially that Dr. Nkrumah is not going to be a matter of subject of discussion in the election.
Also in the bulletin, ruling on submission of no case on whether Chief Executive Office of defunct Men's Gold and Apia Menta, popularly known as NAM1, has a case to Wanta or not is underway. Will be live in court for the very latest. Still ahead, Speaker of Parliament's direct clerk to Ferry report of special committee set up to investigate the IGP leaked tape to President Akufo-Addo for action following its adoption.
You have concluded the debate. I now put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report of the special committee of inquiry, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it.
And later on, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, announces readiness for rollout of new curriculum for senior high, technical and STEM schools beginning next academic year. Details of these stories and many more, including sports, all coming up in the next 30 minutes. Stay tuned in. You're welcome once again to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra. If you're listening to us in Zebila, you are on Zeps FM. We are also live on Ultimate FM in Kumasi, Empire FM in Takrady, and our other affiliates across the country. Around the world, we are on starfm.com.gh and online in the US at My Star Radio. Let's move on and bring you the details of our stories now. We're still within the area of politics, and running mate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, is incurring the ire of Ghanaians only 2 days after he was revealed to the public. Now, the latest round of criticism stems from Dr. Opoku Prempeh's defense of his assertion that no Ghanaian president has been as successful as President Akufo-Addo. Now, he had earlier suffered backlash and widespread disapproval of his praise of President Akufo-Addo via comparison of this government's achievement to that of Ghana's first president, Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But during a courtesy visit to the Tetrete Okwamwa Sechim II, Omahene of Wasame Mfi traditional area in Wase Kropong in the Western North region, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, popularly called Napo, stood by the statement he made. Have a listen.
You want them to give you the good word. You go and say,
Ghana, 1957, from Kwame Nkrumah, and the Kane, a Benjamin Wayetuma, saying, Naja. I'm so tired. Look at the crowd, it's what he's driving. We can't drive near Busama. Mobile, one fan throw.
You had the running mate of the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh there, while defending or standing by his assertions. He says that in this country, when you speak the truth, people do not like it. And people will describe you as disrespectful, while they will applaud people that tell lies. And he only spoke the truth on the day he was outdoored. Well, as you know, this has not gone down well with critics, including leading members of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, who wonder if he would ever shed off the arrogance tag he has been tagged with. Now, one of such is political scientist at the KNUST, Dr. Richard Amwakoba, who has not hesitated to express disappointment in Dr. Matthew Puku-Prempeh. According to him, the NPP may have a public relations crisis on hand should he continue this trajectory.
Initially, I had goodwill for the candidate. And so when people are calling him arrogant, I say, oh, give him space. Because if it's his pronouncement, he can easily change it. It can be coached, beg people, talk nicely to people, small, all of that will go away. Then comes the chance to be introduced to the country. Listen to what he said. Now, we are not talking about him, we are talking about Kwame Nkrumah and Akufo-Addo. The history of Ghana. Why? Are we dealing with the history of Ghana? We are talking about what Nepal is going to do. And he himself is insistent that what he said, there's nothing wrong with it, is driving the conversation in the wrong direction. So we are talking about that issue instead of talking about what he is going to do to help the country, to help the president. This is what he's doing. He doesn't even realize it because I don't know how he is. Maybe he's an abrasive person, so he's not able to talk to other people. If they are saying you're arrogant, you are confirming that view of you. You are. Because if people are saying that what you said is no good, you have time to think about it. You have time to talk about that. You want them to give you the good word. You go and say what you said was your opinion when you stand where you stand. That means you are unrepentant. That's equal to arrogance. If he doesn't know, I'm telling him. And so today, I will say too, he is arrogant. Or Tufo has advised you not to do it. The first chance you get, that's what you do. That means you are arrogant.
You heard there Dr. Richard Amwakoba, political scientist and a leading member of the NPP. Similarly, Deputy Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Amidu Isaaku Chinya, has described Dr. Matthew Puku-Prempeh's comments as mere gaffe and uncalled for. The Sisala East MP believes the first president's legacy will forever be unmatched. He spoke on GA Today on our sister station, G20 Television.
I mean, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was the first president of the Republic of Ghana. He's the foundation president. And the times of his presidency for me and the fact that he's the foundation president of Ghana makes him, whether you like him or not, makes him very important. I mean, we struggled to get independence, and this is the man who led us to independence. And so his relevance and his importance and the reverence that we need to give him as Ghanaians cannot be taken away. In fact, he's an icon for the whole of Africa. People can make comparisons. For instance, he introduced free secondary education in Ghana, but limited to the north. President Akufo-Addo has added on. It was limited to the north. Now it has been expanded, and free education is a nationwide policy. From my personal point, I think that there is no need comparing Nkrumah to other presidents, especially that Dr. Nkrumah is not going to be a matter of subject of discussion in the election. The NDC is presenting a former president, a former vice president. He has a record. So that is where the comparison should be. So for me, it was an overboard. Me sitting here, I'm not in Nkrumah, but I see him as an icon.
You had the Deputy Sanitation Minister and Member of Parliament for Sisala East, Amidu Isahaku Chinya. On the part of the PNC flag bearer, hopeful Bernard Mona. Now, he says that the NPP's running mate's comments embarrassed the Asantehene. He referenced Dr. Puku-Prempeh's time at the Education Ministry, alleging that he had deliberately attempted to rewrite the country's history.
Then, of course, if you listen, when he realized that he has tombed, he said, and President Akufo-Addo, in 1957, aye juma echen ubia Ghana umampanyibia. As if that is not enough. Then say, Mo Kwame Nkrumah no, and you were made Minister for Education. And we saw the deliberate attempt to obliterate what Nkrumah stood for. And people thought that it was a mistake. Some people say it was the printer's devil. By these utterances, it means that the man was deliberate. He had actually intentioned to do the kind of things that he did at the Ministry of Education to caricature our nation's history and the significance of Kwame Nkrumah. That is what he did. In the history of the world, Emperor Haile Selassie never stood up before anybody. It doesn't matter whether you are a king, you are a queen, whether you come from the United States or you come from Cuba, you come from Russia, he will sit to welcome you. But on the day that Kwame Nkrumah arrived at Addis, in the palace of Emperor Haile Selassie, the man got up because he has seen that a significant, a magnet, a colossus of African has arrived in his palace. The man stood up. That is to tell you that the greatness of Kwame Nkrumah is far, far beyond the boundaries of Ghana.
You had the PNC flag bearer hopeful Bernard Mona also speaking on G Today on our sister station, GH1 Television. This is your election hub here on Star 103.5 FM. Let's remain with issues relating to politics. And the Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC, Malik Basintele, is challenging the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to an engagement with journalists on the economy before calling for a debate between himself and the NDC flag bearer for the 2024 general elections, John Dramani Mahama. Malik Basintele's comment is in reaction to a comment by the Vice President challenging his main opponent to a debate to prove to Ghanaians who between the two of them is more deserving to be Ghana's next president. Have a listen to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
I am looking forward to a debate with John Mahama on the economy, on the country, on the governance. But I'm afraid that he's running away from a debate.
You had the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, but the Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC, Malik Basintele, says before challenging former President Mahama to a debate, the NPP flag bearer should first meet journalists for a discussion about the economy like former President Mahama did.
President Mahama knows what he's done. We are ready because we can tell the Ghanaian people how we're able to sell petrol at 4.2 cedi a litre. We are ready because we can tell Ghanaian people how we're able to peg the dollar at 4 cedi a dollar. We are ready because we can tell the Ghanaian people how we're able to manage the economy without denying pensioners of their bonds. We are ready because we can tell contractors how we're able to manage the economy and still pay them their amounts of money. If Bawumia has finally gained balls and momentum to face President Mahama, he should first meet you media people. He met a nurse. She embarrassed him. He got to Techima magazine. They gave him a home-use Opel Vectra steer, and he was dancing with. Look, maybe he wants us to go to the theater and joke, but we mean business.
You had the Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC, Malik Basintele. Let's go on social media and see what your reactions have been in relation to this particular conversation about debates. And Nanama Anobimpong Akwa is here with what you have been saying on social media as to whether a debate will change your views or otherwise in terms of who to vote for. Good afternoon to you, Nanama. What have people been saying?
Afternoon, Naa. People have been saying a lot. This has sparked a lot of debate itself on social media. Our first comment from Kojo says, from now to December 7th, I don't think anything can influence my decision, honestly, because I have seen enough and I've made my mind up already. And he adds, thank you.
All right.
Tino says Bawumia should meet the press and answer those questions he gave the ex-vice president, Amisa Arthur. Harun also adds his voice. Bawumia is irrelevant in our politics without him attaching himself to John Mahama. No wonder he always mentions Mahama's name more than his own self and government. We have here, yes, they share their ideas as if we don't already. no. And if they don't deceive us enough, we vote against both. Ibrahim says, if we are a serious country, people in this country, none of these persons should be president. Richard also says Bawumia knows he won't win, so he wants to convince Ghanaians he's an economic guru, but we all know he's an economic Maguire. Hagen says debate doesn't solve our ailing economy. There are people who can talk but do little to nothing. Then it is because that's where they will be able to digest the issues well. I think he's saying there that if there is a debate, then more people will be able to hear their opinions and know what each party is saying through their potential flag bearer. Then Emmanuel says, frankly, it will be a waste of resource. It won't add anything to our economy, and personally, it won't inform my decision. Maxwell has another view. He says new force candidates should be included. We are tired of these two, talking about the duopoly of NPP and NDC. Theophilus thinks there's no need. Let Dr. Bawumia meet the press and see his smoothness level. Well, that's what we have for you from X, formerly of Twitter. My name is Nanama Akwa. Back over to you.
Thank you very much, Nanama Anobimpong Akwa, with the very latest on what you're saying on social media, what you have been reacting to as to whether a debate will change your views or your thoughts with regard to who to vote for. And that'll be it for the election hub. Let's move to Parliament. And the Speaker of the House, Alban Kinsfor Bagbin, has directed the clerk to present a copy of the report of the special ad hoc committee set up to investigate the lead tape of a plot by some senior police officers to remove the Inspector General Dr. George Ekufu Dampare from office to President Akufo-Addo for action he deems necessary. This follows the adoption of the committee's report by Parliament. The committee's report, which was not signed by its chairman, Samuel Atachia, revealed that the three senior police officers, COP Alex George Mensah, Superintendent George Lysander Asare, and Superintendent Emmanuel Eric Jibi, misconducted themselves, a major offense under the police regulations. Let's hear the Speaker.
You have concluded the debate. I now put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report of the Special Committee of Inquiry, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The report is accordingly adopted. I can only direct that the clerk to Parliament should make available a copy of this report, which has just been adopted by the House, to His Excellency the President.
You heard there the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, there. But during the debate, after the report returned to the plenary following an engagement between the Speaker and members of the committee, the Ebuakwa South MP and also chairman of that ad hoc committee, Samuel Atachia, urged the House to reject the report, arguing its conclusion was illogical.
What they were discussing is so illogical, and it's not even realistic for somebody to surmise that a particular IGP can determine an outcome of an election. And therefore, what is the matter? What is the sense in punishing people for their absurd positions and their illogicalities? That's my concern. That's why I'm saying that the whole issue of conspiracy falls flat. They were conspiring about nothing. You do not just listen to people who come before a committee and that will bring you to a conclusion of the matter. You delve into the matters. A committee of Parliament is not a conveyor belt.
You heard the chairman of the ad hoc committee that was set up to probe the IGP leak tape saga. Let's remain in Parliament because yesterday the National Service Bill was passed into law. Our parliamentary correspondent Ibrahim Alassan has joined us with the very latest with regard to that. And I'm curious to know how does that benefit the Ghanaian now that the National Service Scheme is now an authority, correct?
Yes, it is now an authority pending the assent of this bill by President Akufo-Addo. Ostensibly, the changes are numerous. One, it becomes the National Service Authority becomes a body corporate that can purchase, possess a property in its name. And of course, it talks about the fact that wherever there's hindrance to the acquisition of land, the land may be acquired for the authority under the Lands Act 2020, specifically Act 1036, and the cost shall be borne by the authority. This has been one of the challenges the authority is facing. It has National Service Scheme farms. It has not been able to acquire these lands in the name of the Secretariat, and that's how come it's now an authority, so they could do that. Aside that, now we know that if you complete a tertiary education, you are under 50, you are a Ghanaian, you qualify to do national service. You can be deployed to the military for training and drills. That is in the act as well. You can equally be deployed outside Ghana to go and undertake your national service.
Will this not be abused?
To go and undertake your national service. You're right.
Will they not be abused? I mean,
okay, so
we already see
as in the people who could be the beneficiaries of this particular arrangement.
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. The party people will be sent. No two ways about that. We know that. Right? Depending on where they are sending you. Depending on where they are sending you, yes. And this is in line with what, for instance, the government is doing under the Ministry of Health, where nurses are sent to Barbados and other places for the country to also earn something. Aside that, the authority can now develop and implement policies and programs for national service, organize sensitization and awareness programs on the national service, post a person qualified to undertake national service to a user agency or program in a field determined by the board, and this is where they can send you outside. And finally, now, if you are deployed to a private sector, the private sector doesn't treat the service personnel well, the authority now has the power to sanction that particular entity.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Ibrahim Alassan is our parliamentary affairs correspondent. Let's now turn our attention to the courts, where ruling on the submission of no case on whether Chief Executive Officer of the defunct Men's Gold, Nana Mensa, popularly known as NAM1, has a case to answer or not is currently underway. Let's speak to our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa, for more on this. Mutala, the case was called just before we came on air. What more can you tell us?
Well, now the 110-page ruling is what Justice Enezo Sudaba is currently dealing with. 110 pages. In fact, the court set out and clearly stating that, look, when the matter is filed in court, the person who comes to court initially is seen as somebody who has a case, who has emerged victorious. However, the person will have to call witnesses to come and just depose or testify to support the case or the claim that they have made in court. And the court can only come to a better conclusion if the court hear both sides or both have a very fair understanding of what is on its own record, to be able to weigh what is who is saying what and what is saying what. But that is not to say that the court is already making a finding that one has a case to answer. What Justice Ernesto Usutapa is saying is that currently he's assessing or analyzing the witnesses or the testimonies of all the witnesses who have come to court, 9 of them. Before I came out to talk to you, the court was assessing the witness or the testimony of the faith prosecution witness, how they managed to save their properties or their funds in Men's Good and then Blue Marketing Council. Until now, they've not been able to recoup whatever investment that they have made into that. What is clear or what is likely to happen at the end of the ruling is that the court will have to make a determination as to whether or not, upon listening to or hearing the testimonies of all the prosecution witnesses, there are some questions that one ought to answer for the court to have an understanding of what the matter beforehand. So at the end of it, a determination will be made. But what is clear now is that one is in court wearing the white shirt and all that. And very, very quite interesting, very heavily packed court. And it is clear that for now, Justice Ernesto Usutapa is making his ruling. As to what the court will arrive at, we are yet to know. But what is clear is that 110 pages is what this ruling is all about. And the court has said that this ruling, or the judge is saying that he's reading virtually everything on that 110 pages. So it is a long day we have at hand.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there any other thing happening in court? Because is there anything else happening?
but now it has been a very busy day, of course. The ambulance case is also here at Justice Efiakpewa Saribotri's court. What is clear is that Mr. Richard Dakwa will be calling his first witness. And these are two courts that are very close to each other. But whatever is happening in the other case, that case has also been called, and then the witness is testifying via video link.
Thank you very much. Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent. Let's now turn our attention to sports. And Jones Aji is here. Good afternoon to you, Jones. What's in sports?
Good afternoon. So let's start off from assistant coach of the national beach soccer team. He has been speaking. Yes, so coach of the national beach soccer team, the Black Sharks, Julius Caesar Beckler, believes that Ghana's new generation of beach soccer players can undo the Ivorians after 2 unsuccessful attempts in previous meetings. He was speaking on the sports chat on Starr FM this morning ahead of the team's double-header AFCON qualifier against the Ivorians later this month, which will see qualified teams take part in the AFCON in Egypt.
Yeah, we've played the same twice against the Ivorian team before in the past, and we were not able to beat them. But this time around, new generation, new crop of players, and with the experience that we've had in the past, we still have some old guys around. We'll do our possible best to go past the Ivorians to qualify for the Nations Cup in Egypt.
Now let's move to FA Cup champions Nswatramine FC, who have actually found out their opponents. So FA Cup winners Nswatramine FC would face Chadian side TP Elect Sports in the first leg of their CAF Confederations Cup first preliminary round qualifiers. Now, the 12 highest ranked clubs in the official club rankings shall be exempted from the first round, and the remaining 40 clubs shall play as of the first round and consist of third round clubs and the non-ranked 37 clubs according to the official club ranking. So congratulations to Nswatramine FC, wishing them all the best in there. And then finally would end off on a lighter note where yesterday after a 10 semi-final where England came back from a goal down 2-1 to beat Netherlands and scoring the winner in additional time, King Charles III has congratulated the team and asked for a less tense game. So a statement read, "If I may encourage you to secure victory before the need for any last-minute wonder goals or another penalty drama, I am sure the stress on the nation's collective heart rate and blood pressure would be greatly alleviated." So that was from the King Charles there, and she doesn't want any heart problems.
Any pressure. They should do the needful in time.
Yes. Thank you all. And that's your for sports.
All right. Thank you very much, Jones, with the very latest in the world of sports. You're still listening to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Let's get ready to wrap up the bulletin. Let's switch our attention to education. And the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, says it is ready for the rollout of the new curriculum for senior high, technical and STEM schools beginning next academic year. Graduates of this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, BEC, will be the first batch of students to use the new curriculum. According to NACA, the new curriculum aims to ensure that all learners achieve their potential by equipping them with 21st century skills, competencies, character qualities, and shared Ghanaian values. Have a listen to the Director of Corporate Affairs at the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, Rebecca Abu Gariba, speaking to the media.
I don't think we are merging junior high and senior high schools. What you should know is the current students who are writing, actually they started the BEC today. They started with the standard-based curriculum in junior high. So they are the one graduates who will use this particular new one in the next academic year. And the next academic year will depend on the date GES will bring out. So they are the ones going to start from Form 1 using this particular curriculum. So from standard-based curriculum to another standard-based curriculum. Because there was no way they were going to do standard-based curriculum and then they wouldn't have a standard-based curriculum. Okay.
What problem does this new curriculum seek to resolve? What problem does this new curriculum seek to resolve?
Oh, as a nation, you know, we are stranded. I mean, we have a lot of challenges. Now, this new curriculum is to train learners to fit into the workspace.
You had the head of the Director of Corporate Affairs at the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, Rebecca Abu-Gariba, about the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, NAPS, is worried that private schools have been sidelined in the development and implementation of the policy due to financial barriers.
Currently, there are different structures and different organizations in charge of different things. But to be honest, private schools are being left out, either consciously or unconsciously. Because what happens is, anytime training is rolled out for the curriculum, they do it for GES. But meanwhile, 40% of the basic school children are from private schools. So there seems to be national standardized tests, which was to test how the curriculum implementation, how it's been successful. They said private schools who want to pay should do it. Those who don't want to pay shouldn't do it.
You heard there a representative of the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, NAPS, speaking to the media. And that'll be it for today's edition of the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. For more news, do log on to starfm.com.gh. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. Thank you so much for your company. Have a good afternoon.